Welcome all for the first video on fundamentals of structural modeling using the SAP 2000. So in order to model any structural member or any 3D structural object, we need to have three fundamental structural elements or objects we need to able to model. So first one is the line object, point object and area object. So here so the first object, actually the basic object is a point object. Okay. Second one is line object. Third one is area object. But most of the time we are not going to model the point object because it is a part of line object. So if you draw one line in any structural analysis software, modeling software, the points are automatically created. So the points we also call it as nodes. Okay. So that is one. So once we draw the line object, the point object will going to automatically create it. So what is the next thing? So what are the different structural elements you are going to assign to the line object? So the various line objects we can able to assign for a particular this line member is a beam, a column, or it may be a bracing. On the point object we can assign the spring supports. For the area object we can assign the slab, depth properties, or it may be a wall. Next is you should be able to adopt a general procedure in order to initiate your model. First one is the user establishes the grid lines and places the structural objects related to the grid lines using point lines and areas. And next one is assigning the loads and structural properties to those structural objects. Step number one. The step number one, do not forget to set the units as per your requirements. So this is the most basic modification you should do before you going to open the new file in the software. So if you see the default units in the software will be so kips, inches and Fahrenheit. But as per our requirement, you should be able to change this unit to default units. So our default unit is kilonewton meter centigrade. So this indicates the forces will be measured in terms of kilonewtons, distance will be measured in terms of meters, and temperature in terms of centigrades. So for example, point load. You are going to apply a point load of 10 kilonewton, for example. So 10 means it is 10 kilonewton. But when you are applying a beam load, it is 10 kilonewton per meter. So that is what you should be able to understand. Step number two, initiate the model. You can initiate the model in three ways. First way is you can initiate the model from the default units. So the default units, what we saw in the previous slide, you change your default units as per your requirement and you can initiate the model based on the default unit. Second one is you can initiate the model from the existing file. So this we will see in a later stage. The third one is you can able to initiate the model from ready template. So what are these? We'll just see. You see, this is one. So as I told, the first way of initiating the model is you initiate the model from default units. You see, the default units will always be reflecting in all the pop-up menus, which will be helpful. If you don't change the default units, each and every time you should be able to change these units in all the menus. So that will be a problem sometimes in the future. So I suggest you to change your default units before you initiate the new model. Second one is you can initiate the model from the existing file. This we will go to see in the next coming videos. And third one is you can directly select the template based on the availability in the software. So if you see this, the various templates are available here. You can initiate from the blank. Some of the bridges you can initiate from the blank, or you choose the grid only option and some beam options, 2D truss, 3D trusses, 2D frames. So many things are there so that you can able to initiate your model based on your uh, the templates available. Next, most important thing is the development of grid system. Here, if you want to develop the grid system, you should be able to know the concept of global axis. Global axis are nothing but the three different axes which is available in all the softwares where you should identify X, Y, and Z out of these three. So which one is up? So that is most important. So which one is up? That means so out of these three axes, which will fall under the vertical axis. The vertical axis is most important in all the softwares. So let us identify which is vertical axis in our further discussion. Next one is the number of grid lines. On the software, particularly this software will going to ask the number of grid lines are required. So the user has to carefully choose the total number of grid lines required in order to develop the model. Here one logic here is the total number of grid lines depends on number of supports or number of support condition. If it is a beam, how many number of supports, fixed supports, hinge supports are there. If it is a three-dimensional problem, how many number of columns. So based on the or it is maybe require based on the requirements of the user. So in the next video, we will see how to initiate the model and how to do a simple two-dimensional beam model based on the discussion of this video number one. Thank you.